Good day. Welcome to another edition of Ibima Mungo's Perspective on Global Affairs. Before I continue, I urge you to please press the like button. And if you're new to my show, I also urge you to subscribe. The big breaking news is that there was an attack, possibly an attack that should have been on President Trump, but there was a shooting in a venue that President Trump was special guest, the White House Correspondent dinner. The attacker has been apprehended and quite a lot has come out of it. So the question I want to ask is this: if this attack was there to harm President Trump, why is it that it is President Trump? President Trump was asked that question and I'll give an answer. But what really could be that President Trump, both as a candidate and now as a president, he has had 3 attempts at his life. I would want to believe that this was an attempt at getting to him. Is it possibly a plot by the Iranians? Could it be a plot by the Ukrainians? There's been one of the attempts was linked to one who liked Ukraine. Could it be something much more than that? Whatever it is, President Trump seemed to be a magnet for assassination attempts. And President Trump was asked this question: why is it that he is such a magnet to being eliminated by some people? He has a very good answer. He says he's a great man. He says he feels that those people who have been assassinated, he mentioned Abraham Lincoln and such other people, that maybe it was the greatness in them and the fact that they were doing very great things. President Trump says that he has great things that he is doing, and that is why it may just be the reason why people don't like him or people. And then he also talked about the job. He talked about recognizing the fact that this is a very dangerous job. I didn't even know President Trump is very good at statistics. He read out some statistical figures as to how it's a dangerous job and that political assassinations is not unique to America. President Trump came off of this attack, possibly very shaken, maybe not. He says he was surprised, but he did say that his wife was very, very shaken. Melania was shaken because it wasn't even the event that didn't even started. And the event was just ongoing when Secret Service was alerted to a gunman who fired, I think, 5 shots. There was immediate scramble, commando-like raid to protect the president. And then long guns were drawn, and the guests, dinner guests, with all their beautiful garments and all, and their tuxedos and jackets, they found accommodation under their tables. Better safe than sorry. It was from under their tables they were taking video shots of the events that were happening around them. It was later on that they rallied around, and they are now in they went to the president's presidential White House, and there they had the press conference with President Trump. So very dramatic night, very dramatic day, and it really is one that will make a lot of people ask, why is President Trump the target of these assassination attempts? President Trump, we know, evokes very strong feelings, very, very strong feelings. The first case in Butler, Pennsylvania, we really don't know who the young man who attempted to assassinate Trump was. He was a very young man. He didn't have such a record, any profile anywhere. And it was for that reason why they felt that it was a big conspiracy. There's a lot of conspiracy theories that come off of that Butler, Pennsylvania attempt to kill President Trump. That was the one where he was shot and where he stood up and he said, "Fight, fight, fight." He had blood trickling down from his ears. The young man was shot immediately, and that left the door open for a lot of conspiracy theories. There's quite a lot of President Trump attracts this. He evokes all of these emotions. And at a time now that America is going through a very consequential time, the war in Iran is not going well. President Trump's numbers are down in the opinion polls. Besides that, also the economy is in a flux. Many people feel that the American economy is very close to a massive how would I put it now? The word is like, just imagine the house of cards falling down. The stock exchange is a bubble. Most of the growth in the stock exchange is fueled by just the artificial intelligence subsector of the economy. It's a very small subsector in a place where the spectacular growth of NVIDIA, of ChatGPT, and of all of these companies is what is driving the economy. Meanwhile, we know what's happening. Grocery prices are going up. The economy is hard, telling very hard on everyday Americans. The issues may be very different than what we even think. But we've come to know now, they've identified who the shooter is, a lone wolf. When President Trump was asked if he is part of a greater conspiracy, President Trump identified him and said possibly that he was a lone wolf. Quite a lot of reports are coming out very fast out of this event. I'm sure by the time this video is out, there will even be more information. But who knows? Maybe this lone wolf, how did he get smuggled his gun into the venue? Maybe he brought in components, 3D components, plastic components. These days, you can get a gun 3D printed on YouTube, of all places. YouTube is now the center of do-it-yourself videos. Some of them have been banned, though, but the 3D printing of guns is... besides, this is America. Everybody has a right to their gun. It's one of the amendments that I think is the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. It's a very big thing in America, and it is for that reason why in America they have more guns than people. Some they have licenses to conceal their gun. Some have licenses to bear arms openly. They have over almost 400 to 500 million guns in America, and you will not dare to take that right away from them. It is for that reason we have a lot of killings, spectacular killings every day. Even a few days ago, there was another killing, including one where a father killed 6 of his children. But it is the killings that go on in high schools that is quite the surprise. It's a plague. It's a plague in America where high schools have become very unsafe. If you go to any high school or you drive by any high school now, they actually have dedicated police units now in high schools in America, almost all the cities, all the ISDs. In America, they call it the ISDs, the independent school districts. In their high schools or around their schools, they make sure that they always have a police office very ready to move in and protect the students there. But it hasn't helped. They continue to have that dramatic incident all over the schools. They are trying to walk about it. There's a celebrated principal now who was, just a few days ago, he tackled a gunman who came into the school, possibly to do some harm. He was part of the proms. They made him the king of the proms. The young kids who were very grateful that rather than spend time in hospital, they were able to have their prom. So this is America and guns. We will get to know more about it. Was President Trump attacked by a lone wolf? Was he attacked by a sympathizer of Iran? Was he attacked by a sympathizer of Russia? A sympathizer of Ukraine? Who came up with this nefarious plan, very evil plan, to take down the president of the most powerful country in the world? We will get to know. Already, Kash Patel has told us that the FBI has gone to scour his apartment. They have everything on him. And he has asked for more information. If you do have any information to give or share with the FBI regarding this lone wolf, please. The hotlines, Kash Patel just reeled it out. But I'm sure it's not a very hard thing to do to find out how to get to the FBI. But it is very interesting, very dramatic. And knowing President Trump, he will try to get political capital out of it. Well, these are the pictures here that came out today. It was quite a dramatic day today. And President Trump, just innocently, he didn't even know what was going on around him. I took a complete thread, so that we can get better readings of him. He didn't even know what was going on around him. And the shot came. very dramatic. Everybody now knows what to do when you hear gunshots. You find and dive under the nearest table. Well, President Trump has the benefit of so many Secret Service. He actually said that quite a lot of the Secret Service personnel were embedded in that particular event. They were there. But something very interesting happened just before the event. Caroline Levitt had an interview, and this is what she said about
It'll be ready to rumble, is he not?
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it all. And you wrote most of it, you said.
I can't take credit. In true Donald Trump fashion, the man puts his pen to the paper himself. So it's a lot of his own work.
So we got this, however prophetic it was. People will say that on the strength of this, maybe it was planned. But from this thread, we saw a lot of things. This is where Mike Johnson was being spirited at. All members of the cabinet were immediately taken out, and the Secret Service actually said that everybody was safe. This year now, the police came in. There was very dramatic events there now. It's quite interesting now. America is a place of drama. We don't see all of this drama in other countries, maybe. But when you look at all the other countries, when we talk of other countries, we're talking about China and Russia. This is not drama you associate with the Russian presidency. If it actually happened in the Russian presidency, the media in America will go into overdrive. So this is it again from another angle. That is one for the records. President Trump has said, though, that this event was one where he was ready to reap a lot of jokes, and he felt that some of them were not so appropriate, but he decided that they will have another shot at it. There will be a replay of this. He actually said that they will have to do this correspondent dinner all over again. So this is the thread I got here now, and but President Trump, immediately after the event, he put out a tweet, very clear. Quite an evening in DC. Secret Service and law enforcement did a fantastic job. They acted quickly and bravely. The shooter has been apprehended, and I have recommended that we let the show go on, but will entirely be guided by law enforcement. They will make a decision shortly. Regardless of what decision, the evening will be much different than planned, and we'll just plain have it to do it again. So President Trump hinted that he would like to do it again, but he also said something that law enforcement has requested that we leave the premises, consistent with protocol, which we will do immediately. I will be giving a press conference in 30 minutes from the White House press briefing room. The First Lady plus the Vice President and all cabinet members are in perfect condition. We will be speaking to you in half an hour, and I've spoken with all the representatives in charge of the event. We'll be rescheduling in 30 days. This is a video here now of the arrest of the lone wolf. He's identified as coming from California. He's a 31-year-old man, and his name is Thomas Thomas Allen. He's been detained, and of course, it will be investigated, and we'll get to know if he has associations with Russia, with Ukraine, with Iran, or who knows, maybe even with South Africa. After all, they have a bit. He may even be from Denmark. Whatever it is, we will know. He may be from Greenland. What we will get to know. But President Trump had a press conference, and it was quite an interesting one. It was one where he said quite a lot of things about how the event of the night turned out. He made some statements about how the events of the night turned out, and I had it here, but maybe it has gone up. So President Trump had a very interesting night, very, very interesting night. It's still ongoing. We're going to see more information, get more information about it. I would have liked to show some of the sound bites from his oh yeah, it is now. Let me share. I forgot to share it, Wendy.
Out, you probably have it by now, put out on Truth and put out setting group of people. And there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched, and I was very, very impressed by that. But First Lady and I were taken very well care of, very quickly, rushed off the stage. Vice President J.D. Vance, who's here, was likewise beautifully done. He was just saying how quickly everybody acted, law enforcement, Secret Service in particular in this case, but law enforcement. Marco had the same thing. Pete was there. Pete didn't want any help. He didn't want anybody to help. He didn't call. They said, please, sir, because they didn't know there was a lot of action going on, and they didn't know, could there be probably a lone shooter, but we'll find out. We'll find out very quickly. They have it very well under control. So I want to thank everybody very much. And Todd Blanche, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Tonight,
So he doesn't want anybody to help him, but he did get some, didn't you? And I think you also said that it was very impressive. So with that, I'd like to ask Todd Blanche to come up, say a few words, and tell you it's already.
Well, he said a lot of things. I don't know if this video was edited, but he did say a lot of things. I did skip a part of it, but he said a lot of things, and that was a soundbite from the press conference he had earlier today. Though President Trump has given us a reason why he called back his envoys that were supposed to go to Iran. The simple truth is Iran said they were not negotiating with him, and Iran may have just put down their marker. They have reiterated all the things that they wanted. They want to administer the Strait of Hormuz. They want reparations. They want the rights to enrichment. They even want continuously to say that if negotiations over enrichment are what they're going to discuss, there's no need for any negotiations. They're not going to. It's not an item on any form of negotiations they want to have with America. So today, that was one of the things he said. President Trump now said that he gave us a reason why he called back his team, and this is it here, and this is what he said here now.
We heard that we canceled the trip. We have all the cards. We're not going to spend 15 hours in airplanes all the time going back and forth to be giving a document that was not good enough. And so we'll deal by telephone, and they can call us anytime they want. Again, we have all the cards. They have no military left, practically. They have no leaders left. We don't know who the leaders are. Nobody knows who the leaders. I don't think they know who the leaders are, very importantly.
Well, so President Trump used as spun it now that it is the Iranians. The Iranians are not together. They don't have leadership. And whatever it is, I had actually asked this question in my last video, why they weren't conducting these negotiations over Zoom. If it was to exchange documents, Zoom would have been a good option for them, since they are to just exchanging documents, because the Iranians have said it very categorically. They're not interested in meeting the Americans. And President Trump has spun it now and said that he called back and canceled the trip because the Iranians were not serious. Whatever the documents, whatever conditions that they wanted. And he feels that America can outlast the Iranians. The Iranians are already beginning to indicate that they are going through pain. But one will know that Iran has quite extensive borders with other countries. They're already developing those borders. One particularly is the new rail link they have to China, the one that passes through Turkmenistan to China. That rail link will now become a veritable lifeline for, if for nothing else, for humanitarian goods. It may not be for all that is very humanitarian goods that are very critical to them. While this blockade by America is under, President Trump believes that this is one that will benefit him. He will get his point. He will force the Iranians to come to the table. All the countries of that region are already trying to get Iran to come to negotiations with the Americans. But today the president of Iran actually spoke with Shahbaz Sharif. Shahbaz Sharif was asking him about this negotiation, how they can advance it. In a telephone conversation with Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, President Pakistan reiterated that Iran will not enter into negotiations under pressure, under threats, or under blockade. So there will be no negotiations. And for that reason, President Trump had already spun it to look as if he was calling off the trip because the Iranians are not serious. In the other party that is in that war with President Trump, which is Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israelis, today we saw that there was a big demonstration in Tel Aviv, a very big demonstration against Netanyahu. Netanyahu has had this periodic moments of intense demonstrations, and they've always wanted to remove him because of the reforms made in the judiciary. Particularly, that's the one that has been at the front burner and was very close to taking him out of office. And that was the one, besides the corruption case that he had. But Prime Minister Netanyahu had always found one new war to move into. If it wasn't in Syria, it would be in Gaza. If it wasn't in Gaza, it would be in Lebanon. And ultimately, it was in Iran. So he has hung on to power as commander-in-chief of the Israelis state. And he has hung on to power on the basis of security threats that he needed to attend to. But these demonstrations were they were reactivated today. There was another demonstration against Netanyahu. It's quite ironic that the Israelis initiated a war against Iran on the basis of demonstrations against the regime in Tehran, which they claimed that the people in Tehran were very ready to rise up against their government. It turns out rather it's the Israelis that have demonstrations against Netanyahu. Every night now we see how the Iranians rally around and support their regime, the Islamic regime and the Islamic State. There's big nationalist favor now in Iran. Netanyahu recently told the world that he had, I think a few days ago, he announced that he had prostate cancer two months ago and had surgery to remove early stage prostate cancer. And he said he didn't want to let the world know about it so that it wouldn't affect the war effort, that war that was just started at that time between Iran and Israel and America on one hand. Well, the Iranians have responded, and they responded with what we know them to respond with these days. Their most effective tool is their Lego videos. And this is one of them against Bibi.
Yo, Bibi, did you check the label? Check it. You're expired, bro, burnt out, done. The masses found a new pawn, and your body found a tumor. Welcome to the end of the line, Bibi, bye, bye, bye. The tumor's alive, Bibi, bye, bye. Burning in the sky, Bibi, bye, bye. The end is so nigh, Bibi, bye, bye. No need to even try, Bibi, bye, bye. Did you see the news? You're a burnt out pawn. The masses left you out on a bloody lawn. Your history is trash and your luck is gone. Waiting for the hell to reach its dawn. The expiration date is on your stale old face.
So ugly.
You're an embarrassment to the human race. The cells are taking over at a deadly pace, leaving the planet with no trace.
Bye bye.
The tumor's alive,
Bibi, bye bye.
burning in the sky.
Bibi, bye bye.
The end is so nigh.
Bibi, bye bye.
No need to even try. Bye bye. How can the cancer catch your cancer now?
It's magic.
The universe is making its final bow. The butcher's failing and he don't know how, but the kids in Gaza are laughing. Wow. No metastasis is your final life.
We see you.
Watching the butcher as he starts to fry. No one's gonna help you when you start to cry. Even the devil's waving you goodbye. The whole world is cheering for the prostate news.
Top story.
Watching you sinking in your bloody shoes. You're the only monster that we love to lose. Pay the karma debt for the kid you abuse.
Hey,
The screen is flickering, your end is here.
So close.
The sound of justice is in every ear. The tumor is the only thing we don't fear. Watching you vanish while we all cheer. The tumor's alive,
Bibi, bye bye.
burning in the sky.
Bibi, bye bye.
The end is so nigh.
Bibi, bye bye.
No need to even try.
It's very obvious the Iranians don't believe him. That is why they believe that the tumor is a lie. Anyway, there was something very consequential that happened in Africa, in the Sahel, and it has so much geopolitical implications because there was a big attack. Al-Qaeda in Mali, which is called GNIM, and the Tauran separatist group FLA, launched a nationwide offensive in Mali against the junta and the Russian Wagner group called the African Corps. They are reported really successful. They haven't entered the capital city of Bamako and Kidal, and it looks like Mali was falling apart. It did look like Mali was falling apart. I took a thread so that we can get a clear view of all the news items that came today. Quite a lot happened today, but what has ultimately happened is that they have been repelled. The Al-Qaeda, we should remember that Al-Qaeda was a partner to the CIA and the MI6 in Syria. Al-Qaeda, once you are available to be used by the Western intelligence is on the side, as the Americans said, in Syria, the Al-Qaeda was their ally. In Mali now, Al-Qaeda is the ally of France. France is the one who wants, and Ukraine, I must say. It turns out that it's Ukrainians that are actually training these Al-Qaeda elements in the Sahel region. And so we see a geopolitical fight now between Ukraine and Russia and France and Ukraine on one hand, and Russia and the Malian government on the other hand. Ultimately, though, they were defeated. They were defeated very extensively, and quite a lot of them were killed. Quite a lot of them. The videos that came out about their being killed, being arrested, being paraded. Huge amounts of them. The Wagner Group. So ultimately, the Malian army, I think the FLA, they were able to chase them out, and there was a lot of killing. The Russian military blogger Ryba delivers scathing remarks. Well, the Ukrainians were happy about it. Ukrainian blogging channels were very happy about what had happened, but over time, many of them were destroyed and they were killed. They were killed. It's not one where I would want to show you some of the videos about them, but they were killed and arrested. A lot were massacred, and ultimately the attack collapsed. They actually occupied about 3 cities, occupied about 4 cities, about 4 cities, and it was a rampage they did. In the early stages, I think in Kidal, they pinned down the Wagner Group, and the Wagner Group lost some people. I have a report here that states this. I think a Russian Wagner Group member actually put it out clearly, and this is what will give us more idea. France's strategic counteroffensive in Africa ended in failure. Yuri Podoyevsky is World Events and Politics. So what did he say? He said, today the most powerful attempt to oust Russians from Mali took place. This was a strategically important country for us. When he says us, yeah, obviously it's the Russians, Western Africa, and in our main outposts in this part of the continent. It was here that our victorious march on the continent began, and therefore it is here that France and the West. So the French, they really did everything to try and oust the Russians today. It was a very big one. The Russians ultimately used helicopters. I have videos of the helicopters shooting and people celebrating and all of that, but we are short on time. He said the attack, which began in the early morning, was simple, well coordinated and organized. It began with simultaneous attacks by thousands of militants on hundreds of motorcycles and pickups who attacked several strategically important points in the country, cities like Kati, Kidal, and Gao, and Burem and Savare. Kati is not, so he mentioned how ultimately there was a counteroffensive. They won, they scattered most of the militants, and many of them were arrested. They have a very harrowing videos of their dead bodies being paraded. This is one of the videos about an arrest of one of the... So the Malian government has survived. We should remember that these 3 Sahel nations of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger were very big strongholds of France, and France lost to the Russian influence to the Russians in these particular countries. Now we have Ibrahim Traoré, and then we have in fact, all across, including Chad and even Senegal. Ultimately, France was chased away from the whole of the Sahel, and now they're replaced by Russians. And there was a story of the Russians even freeing two Russian archaeologists who had been held for over 2 years by militants. Now we see that Wagner has actually helped the government of Mali to gain back territory. It is a very significant one. Russia continues to have a foothold in Africa. It's not going anywhere. They are entrenched. The French are failed. The French will try again because this neighborhood is very important to them. If for nothing else, Niger is very rich in mineral resources, particularly uranium. Uranium is very important to all the power plants. France has a lot of most of the power plants in Europe. They are unapologetic about using nuclear power for their own power generation. They are superpowers in terms of generating power from from uranium, from nuclear material. They're only second to the Russians. Anyway, well, since today is such a very important day regarding news, maybe we should just look through whatever has come into the X review. Let's do the little we can get with X review and to update the news now, because this is a very news-rich day. Let me refresh to the very latest. Obviously, now breaking: President Trump has shared footage of the White House correspondent dinner shooting and a photo of the suspect. So now we have a photo of the suspect.
Shall I post it as soon as he passed Gunman?
18, go for
So we got to learn that a Secret Service agent was shot, but he had on his. So this is the suspect in the White House correspondent dinner shooter has been identified as 31-year-old Thomas Allen from Torrance, California. He graduated from Caltech with an engineering degree in 2017 and then a master's in computer science. Whoa, he's an IT specialist, obviously. And this is him here. He does seem to be mixed breed of some sort. Well, we will get to know more about him. Probably he has a Filipina or Vietnamese mother or father or something. The suspect in the White House correspondent dinner shooter was armed with a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives. Oh, he came really, really armed. He was not struck by gunfire. He came really armed then. This is the local police giving their own press release.
For a site detail for the Correspondents' Dinner. As the mayor mentioned, at approximately 8:36 tonight, an individual charged a U.S.
Well, we know all of that already, so let's go to the next story. We are DC Police Chief confirms the White House Correspondents Association suspect stormed Secret Service checkpoint with multiple weapons, guns, shotgun, and all. This is him again, breaking. The shooter has been identified as Cole Allen, 31 from Torrance, California, according to the police source. So I guess that is a video. That's a video we've already seen. And this is the Secret Service bundling out Vance. President Trump and Vance were rushed off the stage after shots were fired. Yeah, President Trump did fall. When he was leaving, he fell. And I think this video captures it very clearly because his own movement was more chaotic. President, maybe he tripped. Maybe you make us trick. All right. Well, it's safer than to be such. He had to talk. FBI Kash Patel took to President Trump's eye to tell him how much he inspires the law enforcement. He did say that.
General, thank you, Mr. President. The president's absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365. You give them the resources that they need, and they know that you have their back. And that is a changing dynamic in this country, and that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect, and safeguard the lives of thousands of individuals at that hotel.
So I wonder how that individual brought in so many things. And New York Times reports highlight secretive communication and concerns over assassination threat. How Mustafa leads Iran from... I wonder if Gulf News, I think, is Bahraini or Qatari, one of them. I hope they are not linking President Trump, Iran to this war. How Mustafa leads Iran from secret hideout. And this year now is the story about the Malians and their... When the militants were scattered, many of them ran, and the locals chased them, caught them, and actually ultimately lynched them. So that was why we saw a lot of these casualties and all. Well, we don't want to see any harrowing sight, so let's move on. Iranian negotiators believe that after softening of U.S. President Trump's rhetoric towards Iran, Tehran could help resume negotiations. President Trump has been very, very, very vitriolic in his statements against Iran in recent times. He still believes that he has won. And circulating footage shows commando soldiers from Burkina Faso and Niger performing military drill. Obviously, they were getting ready to be part of this war if anything had happened. And most of them now are being trained by the Wagner group. So the Russians have their foothold in Africa continuously secured. Geopolitics has gone right into the center of Sahel. One former influence peddler, France, colonialists, I must add, have lost their juicy currency swap deals. They tied the currencies of the Francophone countries there to the French francs. They made sure all of their reserves were in France. They made sure all their money was in France. They controlled the financial institutions of those countries, the economy of those countries. They've lost it. And now those countries are more independent. There's a lot of development going on now in Burkina Faso, and it's a credit to Captain Ibrahim Traore. Anyway, this is where I'll end my video for now. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. If you think that some other person, maybe the Iranians, maybe the Ukrainians, maybe the Russians were behind this attack, if you feel that there's a bigger conspiracy than that's been shown, we've seen that it's a lone wolf. Whatever it is you have about this attempt on President Trump, put it in the comment section. Do well to like and share. Until my next video, you have a good day.